Hello and welcome. So let's implement the React code. Like I said before, all our steps are already highlighted here. So open the CBT folder in VS Code. So this is our CBT folder opened in our VS Code. Next thing will be to create the folder front end by using the command make dir. So I'm gonna give the command now. So you can see that I'm already at CBT. So I'm simply gonna say mkdri make dir front end. So that is the command for front end. Make dir front end, and I'm gonna press the enter key. So once you do that, you're gonna see front end as one of the folders here. So you can see I have models, node models, and routes. I'll see mod front end here now to show that front end has been created. Okay, so you can see it here, front end. So this front end is going to house our React app. So I'm going to cd into this front end. So I'll do cd front end. So cd simply means enter into the, change your directory into the front end. So I'm now in the front end. So here is where I'll create my React application. As you can see the code for that, nps create React app, then the name of the application. But because I'm creating it inside this front end, I'll just say dot. So I'll say nps create React app. So when I do space, I'm supposed to put the name of the app, but I just want to put it inside the folder. So I'm just going to say dot, and I press the enter key. So this nps command is going to automatically generate the full React front end inside this our front end folder. So from there we can then start working. Okay. So after doing that, I have to run my development server by saying npm start. And once I run this development server, I should be able to see the initial React application running. And that is going to spin up on itself. So if you watch the previous class, you see that was what I explained. So after that, we're now going to creating our components and working in our React application. So you can see that the React app, the Create React app, is currently doing what we want it to do. So the Create React app is now installing. So it's installing this React application inside our front end folder. So I believe everybody is there now. Everybody there now. Is our Create React apps, are they up now? Are you seeing them? Good. So you get that Create React app, you get that application interface once you do your npm start, isn't it? Okay. So the next thing for us to do now is to study the various files that are inside the front end, so that we know what they do and we know how to manipulate them. Okay, so open up your VS Code, get to where you installed your front end. Can you open the front end app? That very front end that you have there, can you open it? Open it up and tell me the files that are in there. Okay, you have node models. And you all know what node models are. Models, like I said, scripts that people have written. And you know that React is a framework. That means that they've written a lot of scripts there for you. You understand? So what you basically do is to know how to write JXX and be able to modify those scripts in order for you to get the application that you want. You understand? But like 80% of the work is already done. You understand? And that's why it took it time when you said, when you do your MPS create React app, it took a lot of time to download a whole lot of things. Did you notice that it took you time? So what it was doing then was that it was going to the React website where they stored all the models. You understand? It was downloading all of them. Those scripts that it needed for your work to go on well. You understand? So after creating it now, that's why when you clicked on your front end, after the Create React app must have finished running, you saw a lot of folders there and a lot of files. Those files, you did not write them by yourself, isn't it? If you are to be building a front end from the scratch, using HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, you write every code. Is that clear? There's no code that will be automatically generated. All those things you're seeing there, you have to write all of them one by one. Is that clear? And with such approach to development, you might spend a month just trying to do only front end. You understand? Fast. Okay, just the front end folder. Good. So imagine the time you take. And those things are utilities and things that are very difficult that even you coding it on your own, it will be a problem on itself. You understand? So it's similar to when you talk about, it's very different from WordPress. You understand? Because WordPress is it's just that it's as if everything is already done for you. You understand? This one, you have to do coding. You have to be well experienced in JavaScript to use it. Unlike WordPress, somebody that did not even learn coding at all can manage WordPress. You understand? Because it's a content management system. The whole thing has been, the whole coding and everything has been done for you. The only does to be pushing in content. Like my secretary does the posting of, if you go to my website now, you'll be seeing questions and everything. She does all the whole posting. You understand? Without having to know to even take a coding class. You understand? So that's why sometimes when you want to develop a website for people and you want them to be able to manage the website, you use WordPress. And that's why I normally take WordPress class. I hope all of you have taken WordPress class. Who have not taken WordPress class? 3 of you. Madam has taken. Have you taken WordPress class? Okay. So I'll take Joshua. Joshua will take you guys on WordPress. WordPress will help you spin up a website very quickly. There's a website I'm developing. I just hosted it without developing it yet. AbujaAuthors.com.in. You understand? I want to develop that website on Sunday. Because Sunday is the only time that I have time. You understand? So that very Sunday, I will spin it up and it will be online. Anybody can see it because I've already hosted it. I bought the domain since last 5 days. And they are doing the graphics. You understand? It's WordPress that can allow you to spin up sites at that very rate. In one day, you can finish up your website. Then subsequently, you'll be adding 1 or 2 things. You understand? So that is the advantage of WordPress. You can deliver your job in time. Within 1 week, you deliver, get your money. You understand? But if you're using frameworks like React or Angular, it takes time. You have to spend like at least 3 months. You understand? That's the time you give to your client. You might finish it within 1 week. Somebody like me, I can finish it in 3 days. You understand? But you have to give your client enough time, robust time, so that if there are mistakes, you can be able to work on them and you can be able to also get it to the test of what your client wants. Are we clear on that? So this framework also helps faster. Instead of now, if this one is going to take you 3 months, so imagine what HTML, CSS, and JavaScript from scratch. How long is it going to take? You understand? So those are the things you consider in using a framework or coding from scratch. You understand? If you go for a coding interview, They will expect you to have known HTML, CSS, and JavaScript basic. They might even give you a project on basic. So you're supposed to know those ones, even as you know how to use a framework or a library. React is the library, but people normally call it framework because it's almost as big as Angular. And I told you that there are other competitors to React in the market. What are they? What are the other two competitors to React in building front end? Angular and Vue, isn't it? Vue is the newest one, and Vue is very, very effective. People are actually using it. It's even easier to understand than React. Angular is the oldest, and the Angular used to be the most popular. So Angular is very robust. Angular is done by Google. It's Google people that set it up. All these frameworks are what these major companies like Google and Facebook. You understand? In-house, they are always updating their website, creating new applications. So in-house, they are using it to work. So at the time, they will open source it so that anybody can use the framework. But they're actually the people maintaining it. So Angular used to be very popular, but React gave better feel and people now rush to React. Just like you can use React Native to develop your mobile applications, you can use Android to develop your mobile application. But now people are using Flutter. You understand? Because Flutter makes it possible for you to develop quicker, and the feel of your design is very cute. Because Flutter is maintained by Google. So they have very good engineers that are always updating it, giving developers what they want. You understand? So that is why when you want to choose a framework or a language to use in designing your application, you have to be wise. You understand? You have to make good decisions so that you use the right things so that you can manage. And when you're starting out as a programmer, you might be the only one person doing everything. If you go to a big company, they have what they call front-end engineers, people that are using this React or using Vue or Angular. They have what we call UI UX people. You understand? People that are using graphics to design the UI. Before you start implementing it as a code, somebody must have sketched it. The sketching is called the mock-up. The person might use Biro or use any software. There's one software called Figma. That's one of the most popular software for drawing. You understand? So you need to sketch it so that your front-end engineers, those people using React, will be seeing what they want to develop. You understand? You don't just start developing. Just like we are going to start developing now without anything. In normal place of work, there are different departments in a software company. You understand? The person conceptualizing the idea will sit together with every of the engineers. You understand? All of us will discuss what we want. So after discussing what we want now, the UX person now will be the first person. You understand? After discussion, we'll draw out the project specification with Biro and everything. So we'll now give to UX. UX person will now design a small, simple mock-up, even with hand, with pencil and pen, or with any software. Then the person will now take it and design it using Figma so that it will look exactly the way it will look after design. So that's in the person design, something that you can do with, say, Photoshop or ColorDraw. You understand? But the best software for that is Figma. Because that's Figma, Figma. You understand? So you can learn how to use that. There are jobs for that too. UX UX people, you understand? So after designing it with Figma, now it is now the duty of the front end, looking at front end engineer, looking at that thing that has been designed in Figma to convert it into actual program. Is that clear? If you look at where dialog boxes are, where your menu are, everything, you are now using code. Either you're using HTML and CSS to do it from scratch, or you're not using a framework like React or Angular to develop it. Are you clear on that? So the same way, the person in the backend will also look at that diagram that you've done to know the most likely endpoint that you're supposed to build on the backend. The backend engineer is different from the front end. Big companies, they don't like People, you understand? There are people that are into front end, but because if you do only React, only front end, you'll be so good. Imagine something that you're doing only it. Let's say you're using only CorelDRAW. After a number of years, you'll be very perfect, very fast and effective. You can even do any kind of this. In that same way, that's the level of specialization that is expected of you when you're working in a big firm. So that's why they will give you only React. You just use React and you focus on front end so that you give them the look and feel they want. You understand? Whereas the person on the back end, spinning up the REST API and everything, is also focusing on the back end. So that when they tell you to do REST API, you do it very, very fast and effective. Are we clear on that? So you see the different level. There are people that are into mobile application. Like here, I'm teaching you guys everything, full stack. What I'm teaching is what we call full stack. You understand? Back end, front end, mobile app. But in industries, they advertise for all these things individually. You understand? But over time, as a software developer, you need to have experience in all of them. You understand? At least more experience. And that will qualify you for the post of, say, CTO, Chief Technical Officer. You understand? You'll be able to, as a manager, you should be able to tell when somebody doing the front end makes a mistake, you'll be able to point out where the mistake is. You understand? The back end, you point out the UX person said when he finishes his diagram, brings it to you, you should be able to point out, you understand, make contribution. And you should be able to now synergize all of them. So that this one will not be developing and be going here. Your codes need to be readable. So that in a situation whereby an engineer working for you decides to get a big job in a bigger company, it goes. So when you recruit a younger engineer, you as the CTO should be able to let them know this is how we are doing it. You understand? So that is why all those are very, very important. So we move from one to the other, but that does not mean you must know all of them. You can specialize in one. Is that clear? Yeah. Me, I have to have experience in all of them because my job is to teach. Yes. That what? Okay. Support. Okay. 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 This. Yeah. He didn't play. Okay. 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 Yes. 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 Functionality to your application. You understand? They are just the look and feel what people see. But now, when you now want to start using it, it will not work. So you need a programming language to make it work. And that you can do using JavaScript or using Python. So that's why when you added that script, you understand? It then knew that you wanted to use JavaScript. You understand? And that's why the implementation was done. You understand? So HTML is for the structure of the website. Structure. CSS is to make it look fine, look beautiful. You understand? Then JavaScript is to make it work. So that when you say 1+1, it will give you as 2. You understand? So if you don't use JavaScript, you can also use Python, you can use Java, you can use C#, you can use C++, you can use any of those languages. You understand? But JavaScript and Python are the easiest. They are easier to understand and they are the easiest to get to application. So they are what converts your code. You understand? From a readable language that me and you can know to the language that a computer can understand. You understand? So languages like Java, C, all of them need compiler to work. Whereas lighter languages, high-level languages like Python and JavaScript, they need interpreters to work. You understand? So those things are not actually programming languages. They are structures that help convert so that the computer can understand and interpret the language. You know, the language of the computer are ones and twos. zeros and ones. Binary. That's the language of computer. So if you're not writing something like router.get, as we are doing now, router.this, computer will not understand it. So it needs an interpreter to interpret it to zeros and ones, so that it will be able to tell the computer what to do and spin up those server and all those things that you're saying. You understand? But if you're using a C# or Java to write, that Java needs a compiler to compile from that language you're writing also to the zeros and ones for the computer to operate. That's what. So terminal is just a platform where you give commands. You understand? But there is an interpreter behind. That Python that you install is the interpreter. That's what does the interpretation. That Node.js that you install, that's why if you don't have Node.js and you try to do FPI, it will tell you command not found. You understand? Because the interpreter is not yet there. You've not done it. You've not installed the machine that does the interpretation. If you're not using Java now, they will tell you to install SDK. You understand? Standard development kit that has that compiler that will help compile Java code. You see what happens there, man? So all of them, before you can write a code in a language, you need if it's a language, high-level language, you will need an interpreter. If it's a low level, it will need a compiler. So that's all. Any further questions? Too plenty for us to consume. The work of programming is not something you get at once. You understand? Some of them you have to get after years of working on them. Yeah. Fine, thank you. Yeah. Please, I will meet you in 5 minutes time. Okay. Yeah. You can sit inside. Okay. So so those are those. So you need to know what we are doing. Why I took my time to explain all these things. I want you to know what we are doing when we are doing it. We are developing a CBT application. You know what a CBT application is? The one they are using inside to practice Jam. You understand? So what does it take to make that application to be there? That's what we are passing through. You understand? If you go online now, you can download a CBT application online. Abi? To be in form of your normal apps on your phone. Then you start using it. So the person that developed that CBT, how did he go about doing it? You understand? That CBT was done by software developers like you guys. So how did they come about it? So what you're being taught now is the standard way of creating a CBT application. And it's not only CBT, it could be Zenith Bank mobile app, GT Bank mobile app, all those things. That's the same thing they did. They went to know, they created endpoints. They had REST API, endpoints for login, endpoints for register, endpoint for this. Just like you have your own endpoint for posting questions, retrieving specific questions, retrieving all questions. Is that the endpoints we created? Is that the endpoint? So when you're building a very heavy application, you have to have as many. You can have up to 1,000. So creating an application in that way is very different from all these ones. The one you did, that simple calculator and all those things. All the ones you people are doing ways of creating application in a simple way by an individual like you. You understand? A very minute application. But once you want to build something as big as Facebook, Google, Gmail, all those things are done using the standard way. And that is by, first of all, creating a REST API, the backend that will serve the backend. A REST API that will be connected to the database, whether you're using MongoDB or Oracle or MySQL or Postgres. Which database are we using? MongoDB. That's not the only database. Are we clear on that? There is Oracle, there is SQL, MySQL, there is PostgreSDB, which is very, very effective. Then there is MongoDB, there is MariaDB, there are plenty of them. You understand? But when you're using a NoSQL or database, MongoDB is the most famous. But when you're using a SQL database, Postgres is taking over from MySQL and other ones. You understand? MySQL is also very good. Then Oracle is very, very protected. You understand? big companies, they want to use Oracle because it's very robust and the security is very strong. Are we clear on all these? All these things I'm saying, they are very important. If you go for a text for an interview as a software programmer, they will expect you to have experience in all this. So that when you settle and talk, they will know that you actually know what you're talking about. Are we clear? Yeah? So mobile app, yes, it's possible. In fact, you can do something in WordPress, you understand, and just use some 5 lines of code and convert it to an Android application. You understand? So all those things I will show you guys how to do it. But they are different from doing the real app development. You understand? It's faster. It will give you a good job, but it will not be as good as you develop the app using Android from scratch to finish, or you did it from Flutter. Like we are going to do. The one we do on Flutter now, we're going to do it from scratch. You understand? That's when you can call yourself a mobile app developer. If you use other technology, there are very simple technologies that once you just copy that your code, put it inside that technology to convert it to an Android code, then you can host it. I don't know whether you understand. That one will not take you up to 2 hours. So you can also tell somebody, you post it, you put it on Google Play Store, people can go there and get it. You understand? And that's why you as an individual developer, freelancer, you're supposed to have experience in all those things. Because our clients, they don't know about that one. And once you show them the app on Google Play Store, they are okay. You understand? But when you go and you're developing for a big company that has their own engineer, they have their own engineer. Once you do rubbish, they will tell you, no, this is not what we paid you. You understand? So that's why you need to like have experience in all of them. You have to be a well-grounded engineer. So that now when the client comes, you can be able to assess the client, know what to give to the client. If you go to my website now, you see that we have close to 20-something websites there that we developed. During the last class, the students there, they were very effective. You understand? So we are just spinning up the website. So we can develop up to 20 websites in 1 month. Whereas the standard time to develop a good application is 6 months. So why? Because we're able to know there are other technologies that can easily do it. And since the client is not somebody needing that high performance website, you use that technology, get the job done, and you tap the person cheaper. You understand? Currently, we are discussing with some people to develop their website. They are telling us 1 million. We refuse. You understand? Because we know that the person knows what he wants. We know what the person wants. You understand? And we know that to get to where he wants, the way he wants, it will take time. It will take being extra good. It will take commitment. You understand? Then when you get a simple, somebody say, hey, let me get that shop. Oh, I want a simple website so that people could go online, they see my shop. You understand? With 15,000 naira, I can spin up a website for the person. You understand? Basically, I will use WordPress. That is very simple. You understand? Within 2 hours, I'm done. Then get the person's pictures and details and upload it. Done. But when you're doing, let's say Zenith Bank calls you and say, please, I want this app is not doing this one. You have to charge them close to maybe 5 million, 10 million, 100 million. Some people use 100 million to develop websites. There's one issue they are talking about Lagos State the other time that they developed their website with hundreds of, you understand, millions. But it depends on the technology you're using, the features you're adding, and what the client wants. Exactly. So you mustn't go through the way we are going now. The way I'm going through, I'm teaching you now is the standard way to do it, to make it effective and robust. Because once you create with the way I'm doing now, that was same REST API that we created. That's what the React will consume. That's what the Flutter app will consume. If somebody is using iOS, Android tomorrow, next tomorrow, till the world ends, you can be tapping from there. So if you want to make changes, you just go and make changes to only the REST API. You understand? So all those things will reflect on your various front ends, whether it's Flutter for mobile app, that same, it will still be consuming the same endpoint. I hope we are clear on that. So that's how it works. So it's good you know this standard way of doing it, even as you know how to do it individually. Are we okay? Yeah. React will work whether you install it or not. But call it developer too. So you that is a developer, you need it to be checking whether your code, all the errors and everything, you'll be seeing it there. It makes it easy for you to work with your React. So that's why they call it React developer. It's an extension. If you don't install it, you will not be seeing the errors from your Chrome. You understand? That thing, it works with Chrome. It reads all the error there. But now, if you don't install it, you'll be seeing your error in your terminal. And you might not be able to interpret the error well. You understand? So developers of VS Code, now then do that one so that it will make it easier for you to read that error and work. Are we clear on that? Are we clear on that? Okay. So I think I've said so much. I'm already exhausted. So everybody's React is working up to npm start. It will work now, but for everybody. So tomorrow now we'll delete the files we don't like there. Then we'll start developing. Okay on that, huh? Thank you. See you when I see you. Okay, so I'm gonna be signing off. You can see that my npm React app is still installing. So immediately after this, the next thing you do is npm start, and the server will start up automatically. So in subsequent classes, we are going to look at that, and we'll start creating our React app proper. See you when I see you. Thank you. God bless.